Part 97. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 961. I need its test results before further improvement. Hearing this, the guard's hand trembled and he almost lost his grip on the Xuanhuan void. This thing is famous, even the world of Longgang people has heard of it. This is a super destructive weapon that almost destroyed a world group. There was a trace of fear in his eyes as he looked at the thing in his hand. Lin Yi didn't care what he thought in his heart, he turned around and retreated into the palace. For the time being, he had nothing to do, he wanted to study various inheritance items. Sitting cross-legged in the palace, one inheritance item after another appeared in his hand. The light of the true destiny Daoji kept flashing, and he was observing each of the inheritance items of the deists. Inside were all Dao marks condensed from various soul-level powers. It's just that the Dao marks have various forms and carry different carriers. But their essence is the same, they are imaginary principles that violate the rules of reality. Through the true destiny Daoji, Lin Yi absorbed the information in these imaginary principles one by one. The Blue Star clone, who was far away in the Wanchaiwu, used his spirit to reconstruct this information and transform it into his own imaginary Dao traces. As time passed, the imaginary Dao trace world would continue to expand and evolve from the small world to the big world. In the huge Queen's Palace of the Longgang people, daily meetings were being held. Under the Queen's throne in the palace, the officials of the Longgang people stood on both sides. A guard came here with the Xuanhuan hollow in his hand. Your Majesty, this is the first weapon made by Mr. Lin. It seems to be modified based on the Xuanhuan hollow, and it is very powerful. He asked us to throw this weapon into the place where the weird invasion is the most serious. Does it need to be tested in actual combat? According to the results of our test, he will improve the weapon again. Queen Silyana heard this and a hint of joy appeared in her eyes. In one day, the other party fulfilled his promise and produced a lingbo weapon with a large-scale attack. She had also heard of the Xuanhuan hollow, a destructive weapon product of the extreme development of the immortal civilization. The millions of lingbo weapons obtained yesterday have been sent to the front line. They are very effective. In the hands of those Longgang people at the level of Tiangxiandao, they exert great lethality. And directly block the footsteps of the strange invasion. Looking at this Xuanhuan hollow, the queen looked at the others. Now we have to send this Xuanhuan hollow to the front line. Who of you will do this? At this time, a man immediately walked out of the officials on the right below. This man is tall and strong, with an invisible glow all over his body, and a majestic military atmosphere rushing to his face. Your Majesty, please give this task to me. The queen's eyes fell on him and nodded. General Halder, you should have heard of the power of the Xuanhuan hollow. It can destroy hundreds of adjacent worlds. You must place it on the front line deep enough. General Halder nodded. Don't worry, Your Majesty. I know what to do. Queen Silyana nodded and signaled the guards to hand over the Xuanhuan hollow to General Halder. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the Xuanhuan hollow, and they were expecting this weapon to bring them good news. General Halder took the Xuanhuan hollow and quickly left the Longgang people's fortress. Riding a huge warship, he leaped to the front line. A brand new war is about to begin. In the blink of an eye, several void days passed. In the Longgang people's world group, a strange thing happened in the 2/3 area occupied by weirdness. A huge void channel appeared here. The huge fluctuations alarmed the weird existence that permeated the void. The void here is full of weird tumors, and weird creatures can be seen everywhere separating from the meat. Some of them have a body, and some are invisible and intangible. Some are even purely a kind of fluctuation, even a phenomenon, or even a gust of wind. They are raging, covering all places in this area, just like cancer cells growing in the void. Crazy absorption of every inch of nutrition in the void. The appearance of the void channel attracted their attention. But what followed was a huge black beam of light. The light gushed out from the void channel, instantly destroying most of the weirdness outside the cave entrance. An object flashing with chaotic light was thrown out from the void channel. The Xuanhuan void had been activated when it was thrown out, and was trembling violently. After the void channel did all this, it quickly shrank and disappeared. The Xuanhuan void emitted extremely terrifying fluctuations to the surroundings, immediately attracting the attention of weird beings. A dark hairy arm fell from above the void. It slapped towards the Xuanhuan void, and the huge force even directly tore the decayed void. This arm is not hairy at all, it is a huge arm covered with countless mutated tentacles. From a distant direction, this huge palm is a hand with 4 fingers, covering the sky and the sun. Its source is hidden in the infinite void and cannot be seen clearly. But just when this palm was about to fall on the Xuanhuan void, a terrifying shock wave involving the 5 innate principles exploded in an instant. The 5 principles collapsed instantly under this impact, and the void was directly destroyed. This impact was triggering a chain reaction at an alarming speed, spreading to the surroundings. The void was disintegrating, and at the same time, a spiritual wave of power spread in the direction of the chain reaction. It was visible to the naked eye that a pure force of destruction, covered in a layer of light green light, spread to the surroundings. The huge palm directly slapped the spreading destructive force. Without any pause, the huge palm quickly disintegrated, and the disintegrated part was directly covered in the spiritual wave. The strange essence carried by the destruction of this arm also evaporated and disappeared in an instant, and was swept into the spiritual wave sphere at the spiritual level. And all this was just the beginning. The huge impact and destructive power swept around like a natural disaster. In the blink of an eye, it was a distance of hundreds of billions of light years, or even trillions of light years, until it could not be measured by distance. 1/10 of the world group was covered by this wave of destruction, covered by green light. The green light formed by the spiritual wave seemed to be extremely thin at this moment, and was stretched and evenly stretched to an extreme state. Within this range, all strange existences were directly annihilated, without any other possibility. An extremely cold and strange essence permeated this area, colliding with countless spiritual waves. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 962. Although the strange essence is terrifying, as long as it comes into contact with the green light, it will be drawn into the spiritual wave sphere through the mysterious connection. Lin Yi, who was far away in the sky, suddenly froze slightly, and his spiritual world underwent a huge change at this time. An extremely deep strange essence, which was 10,000 times the size of his spiritual wave sphere, completely enveloped his spiritual wave sphere. From the outside, it was as if his spiritual wave sphere was covered by a layer of black ocean. At the first moment, his will entered the spiritual wave sphere at the spiritual level. Then, the 6 true destinies in the spiritual wave sphere bloomed with incomparable brilliance. It began to operate in the spiritual wave sphere at an even more terrifying speed. The infinite strange essence was sucked into the spiritual wave sphere, and was instantly crushed by the power generated by the true destiny, sucked into the true destiny, and transformed into spiritual waves and spewed out. And the upper limit of the spiritual wave sphere was also expanding at an alarming rate. The infinite strange essence formed an abnormal state like a vast ocean at the mysterious spiritual level. Like a beacon in the dark night, a boundless evil spreads to the spiritual level. The spiritual level seems infinite, and it seems to be connected to all life, or unknown mysterious existence. The emergence of the weird essence seems to have produced some wonderful changes. Countless world groups, countless life forms, and countless ancient existences all feel a chill from the depths of their souls. It's like something extremely evil is staring at them from an indescribable angle, casting a shadow on their souls. At this time, Lin Yi is facing a great enemy, and all his energy is focused on the soul. The true destiny in the limbo sphere is constantly running at an unimaginable speed. The majestic weird essence is swallowed into the true destiny, and after a wonderful transformation, it becomes a spiritual wave. A wisp of Lin Yi's thought sits in the limbo sphere, and he is observing the process of the true destiny transforming into the weird essence. At the same time, he monitors every subtle change. Outside the limbo sphere, there is pure darkness, which is the boundless weird essence. These strange essences seem to be undergoing strange changes in this spiritual level. Crazy twisting and shaking, it seemed that something was about to emerge from the strange essence and wanted to descend here. These scenes made him feel shocked in his heart. These strange essences were rolling, and some invisible tentacles seemed to be emerging in the distant places. They seemed to want to enter this mysterious spiritual level like wriggling insects. However, there seemed to be some kind of power suppressing these strange essences. They could not descend to the spiritual level. Lin Yi saw the scene and thought, it seems that not all forces can enter this spiritual level, and it seems to be extremely repelling external forces. These strange essences can only enter because they are attracted by my spiritual wave sphere. Strange essences seem to be very interested in the spiritual level. There is no change at all in the outside world. But after entering the spiritual level, such a drastic change occurred, as if it was coming alive. There seems to be something wrong here. The spiritual wave sphere continued to absorb the strange essence, but the volume of the spiritual level did not increase, and the suction force continued to rise. The concentration of the spiritual wave is also constantly rising, and the green color is getting richer and richer. The huge black ocean outside is gradually shrinking at a speed visible to the naked eye. At the spiritual level, time seems to have no meaning. Lin Yi's will feels that everything has passed for at least several minutes. But in the spiritual level, it seems that less than a second has passed, or even just a moment. Lin Yi's clone and the will in the spiritual wave sphere can clearly feel the sense of disharmony of this time difference. But he also understands that this is not caused by the time difference. It is a mysterious and incomprehensible state. His body and the will in the spiritual wave sphere form the concept of time. At this time, the upper limit of his spiritual wave sphere has increased by tens of thousands times compared to a few minutes ago. The weird essence has been completely digested, and his thoughts have returned to his body. In the palace, Lin Yi's face showed a faint smile. The upper limit of the spiritual wave sphere has increased by tens of thousands of times, making his road to freedom more solid. At the same time, a few minutes later, the door of the palace slowly opened. Queen Xuanhuan walked in with a happy face. Looking at Lin Yi with burning eyes, "Mr. Lin, the Xuanhuan hollow you created has produced a huge effect. A large area completely occupied by weirdness has been completely restored. All the weirdness there has been completely cleared, and there is no weird essence left. I still need at least 6 modified Xuanhuan hollow to completely eliminate the large-scale weird invasion." Lin Yi nodded slowly after hearing this. "No problem, I will finish it as soon as possible. The materials you provided are enough to make 6 Xuanhuan hollows. After that, I will also make some powerful lingbo weapons to help you eliminate small groups of weird existences." Queen Xuanhuan showed a trace of joy in her eyes. "Okay, everything is up to Mr. Lin." In the following time, Lin Yi was completely immersed in the focus mode of making lingbo weapons. It took 6 days to make 6 Xuanhuan hollow, and each one took a lot of energy and time. Then, according to the original blueprints of the Longgang people's warships, hundreds of main guns were made. The energy of these main guns has been increased by the spiritual wave part, which makes them have the annihilation ability far beyond ordinary spiritual wave weapons. The main guns are mainly used to deal with large strange ancient beasts, which are the most dangerous things in the void. Without large attack weapons, it is almost as difficult as stepping on the sky to kill strange ancient beasts. The simple power fluctuation of each strange ancient beast is more than 10,000 times that of ordinary Tiangxiandao level. At the same time, they also have the unique immortality of strange creatures. It is very difficult to completely destroy them, and they must be dismembered to a certain extent. Purification with huge energy can completely make the strange ancient beast lose its regeneration ability. Large main guns are the only way, or a strong man of the level of Queen Xiliana. More than a dozen void days passed in a blink of an eye. Lin Yi has completed all the weapons manufacturing. Today he delivered all the weapons to the Long Gang people. With the completion of the weapons delivery, his mission was also completed. In the Queen's palace, Xiliana looked at Lin Yi with a smile on her face. Mr. Lin, we are very satisfied with this cooperation. We will continue to purchase Lingbo weapons in the next war. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 963. No problem, you can just send someone to Wanchai to buy it. Okay, I hope our cooperation can continue like this. As I write this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Brett, please send Mr. Lin back in person. Gang Brett looked solemn and stood out from the group of palace officials. Yes, Your Majesty. Gang Brett returned with Lin Yi this time, bringing hope to the entire world of Long Gang people. This is a huge contribution, and he has officially entered the core of Long Gang people's rights. Lin Yi, led by Gang Brett, arrived outside the huge fortress. Looking at the void wormhole below, Lin Yi smiled at him and said, "You don't have to send me off, I'll just go back by myself." Gang Brett was stunned for a moment, "But you don't have the coordinates, right?" Lin Yi smiled slightly, "Then give me the coordinates." Hearing Lin Yi's words, Gang Brett clearly felt that there seemed to be some reason. Lin Yi in front of him didn't seem to want him to continue to follow. He understood clearly and took out a crystal from his arms and handed it to Lin Yi. "Mr. Lin, this is the coordinate crystal used in the Void Channel. One of them leads to the world group where you are. If there's anything you need our help with, please just tell me. Long Gang people always repay kindness. The reward this time is completely incomparable to the hope you have brought us. As long as we are here, no one can touch you." Gang Brett said with a serious face. He always felt that Lin Yi seemed to have encountered some trouble. Lin Yi smiled slightly, "It's good if you have this heart. But we are just making a deal, and we are all good friends. I don't want to owe anyone else any favors. Don't worry, I'm leaving now. See you again when we have a chance." With that said, Lin Yi took one step forward. A wonderful phantom appeared behind him, and a majestic space force spread out from it, wrapping Lin Yi. This is the power of the ethereal path, the ethereal appearance. Through this ethereal appearance, he can cast various space spells. At this time, he was casting a space spell called the Absolute Domain. After the power of this Absolute Domain enveloped him, it quickly crystallized, forming a wonderful protective shield. The next moment, Lin Yi turned into a stream of light and rushed into the huge void wormhole below, disappearing in front of Gang Brett's eyes. Gang Brett looked at Lin Yi, who was so decisive, with doubts and a hint of worry in his eyes. But thinking about the mystery of store manager Lin, he smiled unconsciously. With store manager Lin's methods, even if there is any problem, he should have anticipated it. Countless thoughts flashed through his mind, and finally he turned around and returned to the Long Gang people's fortress. Now, what the entire Long Gang people need to face is the war with weirdness, and everything else must stay back. In the void wormhole, the crystal in Lin Yi's hand produced a strange force, pulling him forward in one direction. The void wormhole generated huge pressure, causing the space crystal to bear huge pressure. It's just that this space crystal is very strange. It conducts various external pressures, allowing such pressures to cancel each other out in the crystal structure, but it does not suffer any damage to itself. Time passed by minute by minute. A huge hole appeared in front of Lin Yi. Where was the exit? At this moment, the void wormhole suddenly trembled violently. A majestic force appeared out of thin air and directly enveloped the stream of light where Lin Yi was. The next moment, time and space seemed to be cut off. A majestic force pulled Lin Yi's time and space into an unknown place. Rumble. A huge force suddenly hit a dark continent, and a huge shockwave swept away in all directions, destroying everything. In the center of the impact was a crystal with a diameter of about 2 meters, which was Lin Yi's absolute domain. He looked around and saw a black curtain covering the sky and the surrounding ground. Densely packed, countless mysterious lines appeared on the black sky and the ground below. This place seems to be isolated from the world, with a kind of boundless and huge pressure. This pressure was firmly suppressed on the space crystal he created. Although the space crystal has a wonderful ability to guide the pressure from all around to offset each other, in terms of pure strength, it is impossible for him to leave here. However, Lin Yi didn't care. His eyes shone with the light of true destiny and he looked around. He was surprised to discover something. There seems to be a power here that has nothing to do with the 5 innate principles. Thinking of this, his eyes suddenly showed a trace of solemnity. He had only seen power that had nothing to do with the 5 principles of innate infinity in some specific beings, such as the great beings before the void. A deep and dark power filled the sky and the ground. His true fate interpretation is running rapidly to analyze this power. However, this power is very mysterious and contains infinite information. It is impossible to completely penetrate the secret of this power in a short period of time. But now, because the upper limit of his spiritual wave sphere has been expanded by tens of thousands of times, when the true life solution is used, the effect is also increased by hundreds or thousands of times. The information that was difficult to see in the past is no longer impossible to see. The calm did not last long, and a huge palm slowly appeared from the sky. It seemed to grow out of the black sky, and it slapped Lin Yi on the head with an extremely huge force. The palm was full of this dark and deep power, with a characteristic of destroying everything. The huge palm reached the top of Lin Yi's head in a breath, and slapped it directly on the absolute domain. Crack, crack, crack. The extremely huge power and destructive characteristics directly acted on the crystal wall of the absolute domain. The crystal wall of the absolute domain could not resist, and was instantly covered with countless cracks, and the next moment it shattered. The huge palm smashed the absolute domain and continued to press towards Lin Yi. The true destiny perseverance and true destiny boundless were activated instantly, and a huge cloud of dust rose. The huge palm directly enveloped Lin Yi completely and slapped him to the ground. However, Lin Yi was not injured at all, and he walked out of the back of the huge hand with a slight flash. He frowned slightly, because just now, his spiritual wave consumed 1/100,000. This means that if it weren't for Long Gangren's trip, he would have used the Xuanhuan void to eliminate a large number of weirdness. It would have increased the upper limit of his spiritual wave sphere by 10,000 times. The attack just now would have caused him to lose 1/10 of his upper limit of spiritual wave before Long Gangren's trip. And this kind of damage is continuous. When he touches the black mysterious power contained in the giant hand, the damage continues. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 964. His spiritual wave was decreasing at an alarming rate. This power seemed to have a huge consumption effect on spiritual waves. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Lin Yi felt the consumption, and a trace of solemnity appeared in his eyes. This is a trap specially prepared for him, and someone has been eyeing him for a long time. He, who is it? Thinking of this, his eyes looked at the border of the sky. He took a step forward and flew towards the border. The next moment, countless black spheres appeared in front of him. A network-like light bloomed directly. It was a network formed by black light sniping him from all directions. The speed of each of these lights reached a level that could not be avoided. As long as it flashed, it would inevitably hit, and no matter how sharp the soul was, it would be meaningless. This formation has completely surpassed the reaction of living things. Unless the reaction of the soul can exceed the speed of light and the ability of the organism to move exceeds the speed of light, it is possible to avoid this attack. Lin Yi can't do it now, so he will be hit by hundreds of black lights every moment. Every time a light hits him, it will consume his spiritual wave. In just a few seconds, his spiritual wave has consumed 1/10,000th, which is a very amazing speed for his current spiritual wave strength. At this time, the distance he has crossed has reached 100 kilometers. The area away from the border of the sky is only a few dozen kilometers. But he keenly discovered a problem. The space in this black curtain seems to be changing. The space seems to be constantly extending, folding, and chaotic. It is disturbing his direction and distance, so that he can never reach the end. But the greatest feature of the true destiny is that it can directly ignore all influences. He advanced 100 kilometers, that is, he really advanced 100 kilometers, no matter how folded and chaotic the space is, it is useless. A figure hidden in the darkness saw that Lin Yi completely ignored the power of time and space distortion, and a trace of surprise appeared in his eyes. Sure enough, just as recorded in the information, this guy seems to be completely unafraid of any array, forbidden magic or other trapping power. Thinking of this, a wonderful power permeated his body. This is the power from the mind, which was instantly injected into this wonderful time and space. In an instant, Lin Yi's footsteps stopped. The whole space solidified, or became sticky. In his state of boundless destiny, he actually touched an object, or felt the restriction of some existence on him. This is the first time he encountered such a thing after he cultivated boundless destiny. In an instant, the light of the true destiny flashed in his eyes. Then he saw the problem. The dark and deep power that permeated the entire space was shrouded in a majestic spiritual power. The injection of this spiritual power caused a slight change in this dark and deep power. It was this change that affected the power of the boundless true destiny. Although it was only a slight impact, it shocked Lin Yi. This was the first time he felt the power that could truly affect the true destiny. Although this dark and deep power was also extraordinary, even the true destiny solution could not analyze it in a short time. It could cause harm to himself, but it could not really affect the effect of the true destiny. After feeling that the effect of the true destiny was affected, Lin Yi instantly increased the injection of spiritual waves. The boundless true destiny instantly operated to the extreme. In this moment, Lin Yi seemed to feel billions of layers of time and space. He had an instinct that as long as he wanted, he could enter any layer of time and space at any time without any constraints. The next moment, he had stepped out and entered an unknown level. When he entered the unknown level, the mysterious sky and earth that bounded the surroundings disappeared without a trace. Seeing Lin Yi disappear in his eyes, the mysterious man showed a trace of shock in his eyes. What's going on? A deeper level. The next moment, the range covered by the sky began to tremble violently. The dark and deep power began to spread to the unknown level, layer after layer of mysterious time and space, and no dimension could escape the cover. At this time, Lin Yi appeared in a pure white world, where there was only a space-time level composed of pure white lines. His feet flashed, and he was already tens of millions of meters away. After a few flashes, his speed increased to an uncountable height. Suddenly, this pure white world also changed, and a darkness descended on this world, covering everything. However, Lin Yi had exceeded the range of the darkness, and the true destiny was boundless. The next moment, he left this space-time level and returned to the normal void space. He looked behind him, where a black sky curtain fell, covering a huge land. At this time, he was still in the void, but there was a huge land under his feet. A dark land floating in the void, at least thousands of square kilometers. However, this continent was dead silent, and no fluctuations of life could be felt, just like a pure dead meteorite. The true meaning of destiny was running rapidly in his eyes, and he was observing the mysterious black sky, wondering who brought him here. The area he was in was a normal void. Wherever he looked, all levels were disintegrated in his eyes. No secrets could be hidden. The next moment, he saw a figure existing in an unknown level. The other party's attainment of time and space has reached an unimaginable level. It is not an easy thing to enter other levels in the void. The use of spatial power must reach an extremely powerful level before it can be done. For a cultivator at the level of Tianxiandao, even if he has completed the practice of the void calamity, it is impossible to enter its time and space level in the void. This requires mastering a lot of spatial mysteries and truly moving towards the direction of mastering spatial power. It takes countless years of research to do it. Lin Yi looked at the mysterious figure with a cold light in his eyes. I caught you. With a flash of true destiny, he has broken through the normal time and space level of the void. Next, he came to the time and space level where the mysterious man was. It was pure black without any other levels. After appearing, he did not speak, and pointed at the other party's head with one finger. The power of the 5 major systems of cultivation gathered in his fingers. The 5 powers merged into one, and a dark sword energy gushed out, which contained the power to destroy everything. The 5 major rules collided with each other and were bound in this narrow sword energy. Seeing Lin Yi suddenly appear, the mysterious figure was startled. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 965. Looking at Lin Yi pointing at him, he showed a hint of surprise in his eyes, but he didn't care. He casually slapped out his palm, and a layer of black light covered his arm. The extremely rich spiritual energy merged into the black light. Obviously he was guarding against Lin Yi's true destiny, the kind of power that can ignore all attacks. The moment Lin Yi's fingers collided with the mysterious man's palm, the other party felt something was wrong. He noticed a huge problem, that is, his power had no effect at all. The finger easily penetrated his palm without any conflict, as if Lin Yi's hand did not exist. This extremely strange phenomenon made him alert immediately. The mysterious figure flashed, and the next moment he disappeared in front of Lin Yi, avoiding his finger. As he disappeared, the ethereal appearance behind Lin Yi flashed with a glow. In his eyes, the true destiny Daija tracked the figure of the mysterious man. As the other party flashed, he also caught up with the mysterious man. The 2 figures kept flashing in this unknown level, and at the same time exerted the power of teleportation. In just a breath of time, the mysterious man and Lin Yi have disappeared and reappeared hundreds of times. The mysterious man was very shocked. First of all, he was shocked that Lin Yi could capture his existence at any time. Secondly, he was also shocked that Lin Yi could keep up with his space control. You should know that in the flash just now, he has changed more than a dozen spatial levels. If it is an ordinary void master, it is impossible to change the space-time level as he does. This is something that can only be done when the space-time is mastered to an extreme. Even if he uses it, there will be huge space-time fluctuations. But Lin Yi in front of him seemed to be lifting a heavy weight with ease. There was no power fluctuation in the whole process, just like a calm deep spring, deep and bottomless. In an instant, he raised Lin Yi's danger level to another level. In his eyes, Lin Yi is already an equal dangerous existence. At this time, Lin Yi is still in front of him every time he appears. The fingers are approaching him little by little, unwavering. He didn't know how many years he hadn't experienced this sense of crisis. However, in this process, he was not completely without gain. He had already sensed a mysterious power emanating from Lin Yi's body. This power was a deep and pure spiritual power. And it was very profound, as if it involved a feeling of eternal mind and wish fulfillment. In an instant, a conjecture flashed through his mind. Everything is spiritual. This is a legend circulating in a fixed circle, and only when you reach a certain level will you know it. Could it be that this guy has touched the essence of the mind? How did he do it? None of us have reached this level. Countless questions flashed in his mind, but he still couldn't figure it out. He cut off the distracting thoughts in his mind with a sword, and focused his mind completely on Lin Yi. No matter how you did it, I'll know as long as I take you down. The essence of the mind, you can give it a try. Thinking of this, a bright light suddenly rose in his heart. This bright light was mysterious and flickered with a little mysterious flame. But this flame was pure black, and infinite spiritual power gushed out from this light. The power of the mind, under the transformation of this bright light, a black flame spread out from his body. This is the flame of the mind, which contains infinite mysteries. The moment this flame appeared, the entire space-time level was collapsing. A field of flames appeared, as if where this flame existed, no time, space, all matter, tangible and intangible things were allowed to exist. Flame is the only thing, and everything else is destroyed. At this time, Lin Yi was also enveloped by this flame, and there was a trace of shock in his eyes. Because the appearance of this flame interfered with the operation of the true destiny. A huge muddy feeling appeared in his boundless true destiny, which was more than 10 times stronger than the last time. To make a simple analogy. Last time, his boundless true destiny encountered air-level resistance. Then this time it encountered liquid-level resistance. And this made his movements slow down instantly, and he distanced himself from the mysterious man. The most terrifying thing is that he can feel that the consumption rate of the spiritual wave has suddenly increased by more than 10 times. The opponent's flame is a highly condensed spiritual power, and it already has its own core. Unlike the martial arts system of Blue Star, the spiritual energy is only used to promote the power of Dao Hen. The mysterious man in front of him, the power of his mind has been turned into a weapon. One as energy, the other as a weapon, are two completely different concepts. Just like a nuclear power plant, the effect of converting nuclear energy into electrical energy and applying it to various tools, even electromagnetic weapons, is weakened thousands of times. If nuclear energy itself is used as a weapon, the power is at the level of annihilation. The difference between the two is unimaginable. The mysterious man in front of him used the power of his mind as a weapon. Under the control of the mysterious man, the black flame turned into an endless sea of fire. This flame stopped Lin Yi from continuing to pursue, forcing him to stop. Every second he stayed in this flame would consume a huge amount of spiritual waves. If the upper limit of his spiritual wave sphere had not skyrocketed, he would have been exhausted and burned to death in just a few seconds. He made a decision in an instant and flashed out of the range of the flames. A black lamp rose above the mysterious man's head, and endless flames fell from the flame core of the lamp. The black flames covered the area of dozens of meters around the mysterious man, forming an absolute flame field. Seeing Lin Yi withdraw from his sea of fire, the mysterious man showed a hint of joy in his eyes. It really works. We are on the right path of the mind. Although the spiritual essence mastered by this person is powerful, it cannot ignore my power. As long as it is useful, it will be easy. Thinking of this, he moved his mind, and the black fire of the mind appeared on his right hand. The black fire was shrinking rapidly, turning into a dark point, and flashed towards Lin Yi. This black flame was amazingly fast, and it seemed not to be restricted by the laws of physics. Lin Yi's body was directly pierced by the black fire. However, although the power of the black fire penetrated his body, the damage it caused was not as powerful as the black sea of fire. Lin Yi's expression remained unchanged, but a hint of surprise appeared in his eyes. The mysterious man's control of the power of the mind was superb, and it had completely surpassed the use of the power of the mind in the Blue Star martial arts system. This direction was a true mind cultivation system, a system he had never encountered before. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 966. The brilliance of the true meaning of destiny flashed in his eyes, and he was observing the mysterious spiritual light above the other person's head. Countless information unfolded in his eyes instantly, and he saw some traces. There seemed to be an eternal breath flashing through the bright lights. At this moment, a feeling of being spied on arose in the mysterious man's heart. He felt like his biggest secret was being spied on. His eyes caught Lin Yi's eyes and he immediately knew what was going on. Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow dot. Without any hesitation, the spiritual light above his head sank into his body and disappeared, completely disappearing into the material world. The next moment, a black power filled his body and turned into a black door behind him. I saw him take a step back and disappear directly through the door. Lin Yi did not chase after him. He felt that there seemed to be endless danger behind the door. If there is anything, there is a kind of power that is similar to the Black Sea of Fire. With these different auras, it was obvious that there was an ambush on the other side. He could only watch the other party leave, his eyes calm as he watched the black door disappear inch by inch. Interesting, someone is really targeting me. But what is the origin of this, that he actually possesses such terrifying spiritual power? This is a system that truly masters the mind. Although I only observed a little bit, it has already pointed the direction for me. Once the Blue Star martial arts system condenses the Daohen universe, the next thing to do is to let the true spirit enter the spiritual level and transform the true spirit into the spiritual universe. It's like this person's spiritual light, turning his spiritual power into a weapon. This fight allowed Lin Yi to see the way forward for Blue Star martial arts, a real broad road. Countless thoughts flashed through his mind, and he finally shook his head slowly. As soon as his figure flashed, he appeared on the dark and silent continent. He looked around at the infinite void and said, "I don't know where this place is. It's still a hassle to go back." Thinking of this, my heart moved, and I raised my foot and stepped towards the ground. In an instant, a gate made of black rock rose from the ground. The key to any door appeared in his hand and was inserted directly into the door. Lin Yi's third clone has returned to Wanchaiwu. At this time, Wanchi House was bustling with excitement, with countless people coming in and out. There are those who drink, those who chat, those who accept missions, those who settle missions, and even many who come specifically to buy weapons. The House of Everything has become a place that countless people in the void yearn for. The return of Lin Yi's clone immediately attracted the attention of some people. Aliata has not left since the last time he explored the ruins. I soak in the House of Everything every day, living a life of being drunk now and drunk the next. Seeing Lin Yi return, she immediately shook her little hand towards him and said with a smile, "Manager Lin, are you back?" Lin Yi looked at Aliata and nodded, "Yes, you seem to have drank a lot again, so you should drink less." Aliata was smiling and didn't care at all about Lin Yi's warning, "If you have wine today, you will get drunk today." "That's what you said." Lin Yi shook his head helplessly. This Aliata was very good at picking up words. Brandy smiled and waved her hand behind the bar. "Store manager, welcome back." "Yeah," Lin Yi hummed and sat down in his old seat. This is his exclusive seat, and no one else is usually allowed to sit. Sitting in his seat, Absinthe came over with a smile and a cup of spiritual tea. "Store manager, you don't seem happy." Absinthe looked at Lin Yi with a curious look on his face. Lin Yi glanced at Absinthe and said, "I encountered an ambush. Someone is targeting me. You should be careful lately, someone might come to your door." Absinthe felt awestruck when he heard this. Ever since all things house set up with the void naming committee. Everything goes smoothly and no one dares to cause trouble here. He had been living a very comfortable life recently, but when he heard Lin Yi's words, he immediately became wary. His eyes narrowed slightly, revealing a hint of solemnity. Understood. Lin Yi's gaze wandered outside as he fell into deep thought. Soon it was time to close the store. The customers in Wanchaiwu left one after another, and the store became empty. But at this moment, the welcoming bell suddenly rang. Ring ring ring. A figure slowly walked in, a soul master wearing a black robe. He sat directly in front of Lin Yi. I heard that you created a Xuanhuan hole among the Longgang people that can eliminate strange things in a large area. Lin Yi looked at the soul master and nodded casually. Do you want it? Of course, we also need the big guys. It's not a problem for you to want the inherited items from the enlightened person that contain acquired rules. I heard that you were ambushed on your way back. Lin Yi looked slightly solemn and said, not bad. The man who ambushed me wielded the power of the mind. That is a real spiritual system, and it is completely different from a system that relies on acquired principles to exert spiritual power. Lin Yi looked at the soul master in front of him. This ancient existence, the supreme powerhouse who refined the way of the soul, naturally understood what the power of the soul was. There was a glint in his eyes, and he was slightly lost in thought, as if he knew who the person who attacked Lin Yi was. Do you know who they are? Of course I know, they are the people hidden behind time. Haunting one world group after another, their favorite thing to study is the ruins of the ancient gods. At the same time, they are also secretly affecting one world group after another. They are called the shadows of history, mysterious and mysterious. A lot of us looked into them and found nothing. No matter what kind of power it is, it can't find them. Even miracle coins seem to be obscured by some kind of power. Their origins are mysterious. You were probably targeted by them because of the spiritual wave weapon. It seems they failed this time, but next time they may use more force to deal with you. Hearing the soul master's explanation, Lin Yi thought thoughtfully, it seems there are quite a few people hiding in the void. The shadow of history, the great life that existed before the void, the ancient god who disappeared in the legend. It seems that you people and organizations that apparently rule the world group do not have absolute control over the world group. The soul master smiled and said calmly, that's for sure. The void is infinite, and the scope of any world group is also extremely broad. I don't know how many worlds and dimensions of time and space it contains. Whether it's the Void Destiny Committee or the Longgang people, the area we can really rule is actually just the surface. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 967. Our rule is limited to the forces and world on the surface. No one knows how many giant crocodiles are hidden under the water. So every action taken by our Void Destiny Committee is very cautious. We will consider all aspects and leave enough backup options. Deal with the giant crocodiles lurking underwater. I see. It seems that you are also very wary of these people. Would you be interested in attending a party? Party? What for? This is a gathering that only those who are strong enough and have reached a certain level can access. There will be a lot of things circulating there that cannot be purchased on the market. Almost all are items that play a huge role in the pursuit of eternity. Lin Yi looked at the soul master, and his heart was moved by the other party's invitation. An idea flashed in my mind and I made a decision. Of course I'm interested. When? After 3 void days, you can use this token to let your spirit enter a mysterious space. There you will know the truth about a part of this world. A crystal-like jade tablet appeared on Lin Yi's desk. The crystal card flashed with inexplicable light spots, and the brilliance of the true meaning of destiny flashed away in Lin Yi's eyes. This jade tablet is not an actual material composition, but a product of the concentration of power extending from the soul level. The countless stars in this jade tablet seem to form a wonderful door. This gate can bring a trace of soul extension products such as spirit and thinking into it and reach an unknown place. In an instant he knew what this thing was for. He looked up at the Soul Master and said, "Thank you." The Soul Master smiled lightly, "You can trade many precious things inside. You can prepare ahead of time." Lin Yi nodded, with a smile on his face, "Understood." After the Soul Master handed the things to Lin Yi, he stood up and left the Wanchaiwu View. Looking at the Soul Master's retreating figure, Lin Yi picked up the mysterious jade tablet on the table. The truth about part of the world? It's so interesting. It seems that those who can participate should be at least Soul Master level beings. These people are strong men who have already blazed their own path and are moving toward eternity. It's really exciting. 3 void days passed in the blink of an eye. Sitting in front of the floor-to-ceiling window of Wanchaiwu, Lin Yi looked at the mysterious sign in his hand. At this time, the sign was emitting a strange wave, and he realized that the sign had been activated. A ray of thought came into contact with this mysterious brand, and the next moment, everything in front of him was moving. With a flower in front of his eyes, Lin Yi's thoughts came to a wonderful place. There is an empty nothingness here, and beneath your feet is a huge network of golden threads. The most surprising thing is that countless dots of light appear below the network. These rays of light gather together, looking like the stars in the universe. Countless galaxies float quietly in the dark universe. Looking at the scenery reflected under the golden network, Lin Yi suddenly recognized what it was. It was clearly one world group after another. The darkness below is pure void. Looking carefully, Lin Yi saw something that surprised him. That is, there seems to be a wonderful interaction between the dark void below and the world groups one after another. Those world groups seem to be constantly moving in the void, and time and space changes will break out again and again in the void. This kind of fluctuation and the movement of the world group form a majestic picture. Just like the rough sea, everything is in motion. At the same time, he also discovered a problem. Quite a few world groups were filled with a gray fog and became very hazy. Lin Yi immediately knew what it was. It was clearly a world invaded by strangeness. After observing carefully for a few more minutes, he found that this pitch-black void seemed to be slightly hazy. I don't know when, this gray mist seemed to cover every corner of the void. His gaze swept across countless world groups and looked toward more distant places in the void. The void seemed endless, with no end in sight. But he felt that after the void exceeded a certain distance, there seemed to be a strange change. He couldn't tell what this change was, but the void seemed to become more dead. No fluctuations can be felt, as if the void is dead. At this time, one figure after another appeared on this golden silk network. A familiar figure appeared next to Lin Yi. It was the Soul Master. "You are here, are you shocked to see this place?" Lin Yi looked at the Soul Master. "This place is indeed very strange. It looks like the entire void is condensed into the image below. What is this place?" Facing Lin Yi's question, the Soul Master slowly looked into the distance. "We don't know where this is. But the only thing that's certain is this. This is a place that existed a long, long time ago. A long time ago, someone discovered these jade tablets in the ruins of the ancient gods. Through these jade tablets, we can let a ray of thought enter this world. Then we see the mysterious picture of the world unfolding. The answer we can get is that this world may have been created by ancient gods. All the void should be condensed into this picture under our feet. However, we also found some strange things in this picture. That is, the distance between world groups and world groups is fixed. We name this distance a distance unit. Once the diameter of the entire void exceeds 100 billion units, it will enter a dead zone. We can't see any world groups in that area. In other words, the range of life in the void is only within a distance of 100 billion units. We named this area the void of life. and the area beyond this area is named Desert Void by us. Someone once went to the Desert Void to investigate, where even spiritual energy does not exist. That area is like a world that is dying and will absorb any spiritual energy. Even if it is refined and absorbed by us and integrated into the body, the spiritual energy will be forcibly sucked out and cannot be retained at all. This all tells us one thing. The scope of the void in which we can survive is limited. This is both a base to protect us and a cage to imprison us. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 968. The Soul Master seemed to open up and told Lin Yi a lot of information about this area. Thinking of this, Lin Yi's heart moved. From here, our life void seems to be shrouded in a strange power. The Soul Master nodded. Yes, the weirdness has long been permeated into every corner of the void. It's just that its concentration cannot reach the first stage where the weirdness can come at will. So our life void is still safe for the time being. But as time goes by, this safety is gradually disappearing. The end of our life void was originally destined, and being swallowed by the weirdness is the final result. So every existence that hopes to embark on the road to eternity is striving to enter eternity before this day arrives. Then gather life seeds and hide away. After countless years, there may be a chance to come back and change the void. It should have been like this, but your appearance broke this result. There is new hope in the void, so I will give you a God domain card and bring you here. Here you will meet strong people from various world groups, and you can trade with them. You can perfect your cultivation, and they can also get the Lingbo weapon system. The weirdness in the void will be restricted, and everyone will see hope again. This is a win-win outcome. Lin Yi was thoughtful after hearing this. This Soul Master really seemed to be a little worried about the country and the people. But even if I know these people, it's not easy to trade with them. After all, it's not that easy to communicate between world groups. I've heard that there are only dozens of world groups that can be connected to our world group. With a range of 100 billion units, there are probably countless world groups in it. Are you sure they want to do business with me? The Soul Master smiled faintly. We call this place the God's Domain, which means the domain created by the ancient gods, with all kinds of incredible powers. One of them is the ability to teleport items. This is an unimaginable technology created by the ancient gods. That's why this place has become a place for countless people to communicate. You can rest assured about the transaction process. Hearing this, Lin Yi was shocked. The distance of 100 billion units can be used to teleport items at will. The effect of this God's domain seems to have exceeded his imagination. At this time, there seemed to be more and more people in the God's domain, and it turned into a lively market in a blink of an eye. At a glance, in this almost infinite space, there are at least hundreds of thousands of mysterious strong men. Everyone here just came in with a thought, spirit, or will. No one can really judge the power level of the other party. The lowest level of those who can enter this space is the heavenly immortal Dao level. The God Realm card has some kind of wonderful screening mechanism. People who do not meet the conditions cannot come in. Listening to the words of the Soul Master, Lin Yi was thoughtful. I have something else to do next, you can do it yourself. The God Realm will be opened once every 30 time and space days, and each opening time is 3 void days. You have to grasp the time well. A wonderful transparent panel appeared in front of Lin Yi. The Soul Master took a look and said, this is the God Realm Information Board, which has many wonderful functions. Among them, there are transactions, transmission of items, and even mutual communication, but this thing can only be used in the God Realm. Study it slowly by yourself. After speaking, the Soul Master had already walked away in one step, blending into the large crowd. These people were in 2s and 3s, and seemed to be communicating with each other. They have different shapes and are different, and some are even just a liquid-like state. Lin Yi saw countless races here, and he deeply felt the vastness of the void. Thinking of this, he began to carefully study the information board in front of him. It only took a few minutes for him to roughly understand the function of this thing. There are several areas on this panel. One is to add friends, which can bind and contact with other people holding the panel. One is the trading area, which has a place for signing contracts. After signing, it seems that items can be transferred, but every time I use it, I need to inject a lot of spiritual energy. There is also a task area, which seems to be able to issue some tasks, with something as a price, more like a trading market. There is also an information panel, which records various information, which seems to be uploaded by people in various voids. Overall, this information board is actually like the control interface of an online game, with some functions that can facilitate communication between people in the God's domain. After figuring out the functions of the information board, Lin Yi began to browse the task panel in the information board. There are quite a lot of tasks in it, such as purchasing a mysterious item and then exchanging it with other items. Most of the tasks here are basically barter, and world coins are worthless here. Lin Yi's mind moved, and he directly posted a message on the task board. I have a weapon system that can completely eliminate the weird essence, called the Lingbo weapon system. The weapon system has been tested and has cleared hundreds of worlds invaded by the weird. The Lingbo weapon can be exchanged for the inheritance of the truth of the enlightened. It can also be exchanged for items that produce truth crystals or materials that can carry spiritual thoughts. The exchange price is negotiable. With the release of this information, just 1 second, dozens of people have started to ask and leave messages under the task board. Is the task true or false? No way, is there really a weapon that can eliminate the essence of the weird? No one has completed it for countless years, who has done it? Countless messages quickly appeared under his task information. At the same time, many applications to add friends have been quickly displayed in the friend area. Lin Yi took a look and saw that the number was increasing by almost 100, which was very amazing. In a blink of an eye, there were already tens of thousands of people asking to be added. Lin Yi's eyes showed a hint of joy. It seems that the weird has caused huge disasters in countless world groups. With a move in his mind, Lin Yi's thoughts began to split into countless parts, and at the same time controlled the countless friends on the information board to add information. Then, he was completely absorbed in the state of doing 1,000 things at once, chatting with countless people. With a true spirit at the level of the heavenly immortal Dao, doing 1,000 things at once was not a problem. Soon, one deal after another was finalized, and the agreed delivery time was when the next Moon God realm was opened. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 969. In a short period of time, Lin Yi finalized 100,000 business deals and even received a large amount of deposits. The contracts in the divine domain seemed to be connected to some mysterious void power. After signing, Lin Yi realized the power of this contract. Once violated, he would face the backlash of the power of the entire void, and no one could resist it. He would be washed away by the torrent of power from the origin of the void until he became a part of it. He took a deep breath in his heart, and a trace of solemnity appeared in his eyes. 100,000 transactions, each transaction involved millions of spiritual wave weapons. There were also thousands of medium-sized energy storage devices and an energy transmission device. For 100,000 transactions, he would have to prepare tens of billions of spiritual wave weapons. This number was very amazing, and it would not be easy even if he wanted to complete it. At present, the speed at which the celestial beings produced the celestial relics had reached the extreme. About 1 million celestial relics could be produced every day, and even if 1 million spiritual wave weapons were to be made, it would take a day. And 100,000 transactions, that is 100,000 void days, which requires 273 void years. Logically speaking, it is impossible to complete it in 1 month. However, Lin Yi has already conducted various researches on the issue of the output of spiritual wave weapons. Now the clone of the human immortal has obtained a strange creation through the Void Destiny Committee. That creation is a famous treasure called the House of Time. Its function is to adjust the flow rate of time. Legend has it that the time of a void day can be adjusted to 1000 void years at most. This effect is very amazing. If there is a long enough life, various powers can be continuously deduced in it, which is suitable for quite a few cultivation systems. At this time, the clone of the human immortal has moved the formation for producing the heavenly relics into it. The clone of the blue star has also entered it and is constantly improving the mechanical Deo Trace universe and the imaginary Deo Trace universe. The progress of the two clones every day is very amazing. The biggest problem of the House of Time is that it consumes a huge amount of spiritual energy, as well as the aging of the souls and lives inside. However, Lin Yi has the true destiny of immortality, so he never has to worry about the consumption of lifespan and the aging of soul. Even his clone can live forever naturally. The House of Time maximizes the effect of this true destiny. If it were not for the huge amount of spiritual energy consumed every day, Lin Yi could even increase the effect of the House of Time to the highest proportion. He is fully confident that he can deliver all orders by the next month. The first time he used the divine domain, Lin Yi only accepted 100,000 orders. After posting the information of stopping accepting orders on the message board, he continued to browse the information area. On the information board, he saw a lot of information, many of which he had never seen before. For example, an unknown mysterious area was discovered near a world group in the void. That area swallowed everything, even the weirdness would disappear once swallowed, and it was unknown where it would be teleported. For example, a place called Aurora Crack seemed to have some unknown explosion. It swallowed a void ship passing by there, and after investigation, it was shown that all the rules there were destroyed. There is no concept of time or space. Even any life that enters that area will lose the ability to move and will be directly twisted into a weird shape. There is also information showing that a world group completely occupied by weirdness seems to be undergoing some weird changes. Some people have found that in the area occupied by weirdness, there seems to be traces of new life. In the area at the center of that world group, the twisted weirdness seems to have disappeared, leaving a huge safe area that is no different from the void. However, the matter is still waiting for further investigation and there is no specific conclusion. There is also information showing that in the most central area of the void, the ancient forbidden area, there seems to be some abnormal changes. There is a huge and extremely mysterious existence that appeared in the ancient forbidden area, releasing unimaginable energy and even destroying a nearby world group. In this information area, countless people uploaded various information, all of which were abnormal phenomena in the void. And these phenomena have no obvious explanations, full of various mysteries and speculations. In these countless information, Lin Yi also saw too many things. What is the eternal forbidden area in the center of the void, or the unknown mysterious existence in the desert void, or the void torrent that destroys everything? Or the deeper area discovered in the strange land? Countless information is telling him that the void is full of secrets and mysteries, which cannot be figured out by one, two, or a few people. It requires the joint exploration of the life in the entire void to discover the secrets. In this information, Lin Yi found a problem. Although the strange existence is the biggest disaster in the void, it is not the only disaster. There are many things that threaten the tranquility of the entire void. For example, in the desert void, some terrifying natural phenomena will appear from time to time, sweeping or rushing into the scope of the life void. At that time, a large number of world-class destruction will occur. It is not impossible to destroy dozens or hundreds of world groups in a row. Those are things that have happened before. Or there are some dangerous places in the void, and huge dangers will erupt from time to time. These dangers are inexplicable, and sometimes they will even directly spread from the void to another place tens of millions of void units away. All this chaos has a common name: uncertain disaster. In the void, no one can guarantee that they can survive tomorrow. Even the countless powerful beings who can enter the divine domain may die in an instant when facing these uncertain disasters. It is precisely because of these uncertain disasters and strange existences that so many cultivation systems are developing towards eternity. There is only one reason for all: to survive. Seeing these countless pieces of information and feeling the vastness of the void, Lin Yi's heart is heavy. He couldn't help but sigh slightly. Perhaps only by stepping into eternity can we be truly qualified to explore the void. 3 days passed in a flash, and Lin Yi almost eagerly absorbed all kinds of information in the information board. It greatly enriched his understanding of the entire void, and he also had many more angles to look at problems. Slowly opening his eyes, Lin Yi looked at the divine domain card in his hand and exhaled gently. The void is so vast, and there are so many powerful people, so we must not be arrogant. Perhaps some extremely terrifying existence will suddenly appear out of nowhere. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 970. At this time, he could feel that there were many more things in the God Realm card, all of which came from the deposits paid for each order. Among them, there were hundreds of spiritual products that could naturally produce spiritual products similar to the relics of the gods. All these things were sent to the House of Time for the immortal clones to refine spiritual weapons. Every day, the Wanchi house would use world coins to buy a large amount of spiritual materials and send them to the House of Time. Not only the crescent base, but even the spiritual materials of the Void City were bought out. Brandy has begun to be responsible for the allocation and use of all materials in the Wanchi house. He has now stepped into the first level of the heavenly immortal Dao with the resources of the Wanchi house, and has the ability to do many things at once, so that he can take care of all kinds of things in the Wanchi house. Helped Lin Yi solve many troublesome things. The Wanchi house began to be busy, and its busyness also attracted the attention of many people. In a mysterious void, 5 figures gathered here again. 4 of them looked at one of them and asked questions. Number 1, why did you fail? The man called Number 1 was the one who secretly intercepted Lin Yi's third clone when he returned from the Long Gang people. Number 1 was shrouded in a dark robe. Facing the questioning of the other 4 people, he said calmly, "The spiritual power mastered by this person is very strong. I used one of the ultimate secrets we have mastered, the power of spiritual embodiment, and it could not have a 100% impact on him. It can only limit his ability to a certain extent, and can only have a 10% impact at most. This is a very amazing thing. You have also mastered the ultimate mystery of the mind, and you should understand the horror of this power. 10% of the restrictions and influence effects, you should know what this means." "What? Only 10% of the effect? Are you sure you are not kidding?" one of them said in surprise, seeming a little unbelievable. "Number 3, you should know that I can't lie about this matter. This person called Lin Yi, the power he holds, I smell the only breath. The essence of that power has a unique nature." Everyone's heart trembled slightly when they heard this. The only one, that is what countless people are pursuing, including the ancient gods of distant times. One of them said slowly, "The only one, that is the power that the ancient gods have experimented countless times to obtain. Is there anyone in this world who can really achieve it? I am a little skeptical. But since it has been confirmed that he has touched the boundary of the only one, then don't hesitate, and do your best to deal with this person. We must take him down and get all his secrets. Of course there is no problem, let me do everything. The only one, this is the power that only we can control. We must not let others get there first. But this person's power is very strong, and it is not easy to take him down. He has the kind of power that ignores all harm. If we can't crack it, we can't do anything about him. So, we must find a power that can restrain him. The power of the mind is the only power I have used so far that can hinder the stability of his power. Number 3 said slowly, in the past, the ancient gods had studied the power of the mind. The power of the mind is very difficult to master, but it is said that in the process of research, they seem to have developed an anti-mind weapon. If we can find this weapon, maybe we can break her power. This man must not have mastered perfect mental power, otherwise he would not have given up chasing number 1 when he retreated. And his power is too weak. You have been suppressing him throughout the whole process, and his counterattack power is not strong. This is the best proof that the power he possesses is by no means perfect. He should have only touched that power and can only use a part of its power. So as long as we find the right method, we can cause damage to him. Based on the picture shown by number 1 and the collection of other information, we can draw a conclusion. His power should have some upper limit. If we get the weapon developed by the ancient god, combined with our mental power, there is a probability that we can break his power limit. At this time, another mysterious black-robed man slowly said, I have some information about this anti-mental weapon. No one's eyes fell on him. Number 2, what do you know? No 2's eyes flickered in the shadow, and a weird smile rose on his face. Someone was targeting him, but Lin Yi had no idea. At this time, he was constantly increasing the upper limit of the power of his third clone. He bought all kinds of natural treasures for the way of fighting, the way of 10,000 qi, and the way of spiritual relics, and constantly absorbed and accumulated his own power. The way of the void and the way of the heavenly master depended entirely on the understanding of the power of time and space. As long as the truth was understood, infinite power would naturally accumulate, and these 2 ways also had their own secret methods, which could quickly accumulate huge power. More than a dozen void days had passed since he returned, and the accumulated power of these 5 ways had all reached the level of 3 times the way of the heavenly immortal. The speed of accumulation of this power shocked him, which was totally incomparable to the immortal system. Feeling the 5 powerful powers in his body, Lin Yi couldn't help but sigh softly. The person who created these 5 systems is really amazing. He can actually deduce the system of infinite accumulation of power. He looked at his palms. There was a strange mark on the thumb and index finger, which looked like a water drop. This is the secret method of the Tianji master to accumulate power, the seal of time water drop. This watermark contains a large amount of time power. This time power allows the Tianji master to use all kinds of wonderful time power. Of course, although the Tianji master has mastered the power of time, he cannot really go back to the past or go to the future, even for a second. He can only use the power of time to slow down or speed up the area where he is, affect the time within a certain range, or use a certain time series of spells. Or watch the past and the future, and make plans to do certain things, etc. To accomplish these, the deep power of time is an inevitable threshold. At this time, 2 of his fingers were imprinted with water drops of time. Each drop represented the accumulated time power of an entry-level Tianji master. Feeling the accumulation of power, a hint of joy appeared in his eyes.